At my birthday dinner, surrounded by family and friends, my wife and brother confessed they were modernizing our relationship. They expected me to just smile and agree. Instead, I gave a simple signal and turned the party into the most unforgettable reckoning of their lives. Most people remember their birthdays for the cake, the gifts, or the people who showed up. I remember mine for the way my entire life shattered and how I took control of it. The restaurant was upscale, the kind of place with valet service and a waiting list months long. My wife, Elise, had planned the entire thing. "It's your 38th, she said that morning, helping me with my tie like nothing was wrong. "Tonight's all about you." Except it wasn't. I sat at the center of a long table, surrounded by everyone who was supposed to matter. Elise to my right, my older brother Marcus across from me, and a mix of friends and family lining either side. On the surface, it looked like a celebration, laughter, wine, small talk. But the smiles were too careful, the laughter too rehearsed. I knew something was off. I'd known for months. It started with Elise staying late at her yoga studio. Then came the locked phone, the shift in her tone, the sudden disinterest in the things we used to enjoy together. Around the same time, Marcus began showing up more. Unannounced visits, dropping by under the guise of checking in. Always comfortable, too comfortable. He knew where the snacks were. He knew which wine Elise preferred. And Elise? She stopped noticing how obvious it looked. I wasn't clueless. I just waited. If they wanted to act like I was oblivious, I let them. The moment came with dessert, chocolate mousse with "Happy Birthday, John" scripted on top. Elise stood first, raising her glass. "To John," she said with a practiced smile, "the kindest, most patient man we know." Everyone joined the toast. I raised my glass too. "Thank you," I said slowly. "It means a lot." Then Marcus leaned in, eyes gleaming. "John, we've been talking. We think it's time for some honesty." I stayed still. "Go on." Elise touched my arm, her voice soft. "You're a good man, but you've always been traditional. Marriage isn't what it used to be. It's evolved." My stomach turned cold. Marcus jumped in. "Look, this might sting at first, but if you really love Elise, you'll let her be happy. We've been seeing each other openly, and we'd like you to be mature about it." I looked around the table. No one looked surprised. No one even blinked. That's when it hit me. They all knew. My parents, my friends, Elise's sister. They'd helped cover it up. "We'd love for you to stay in our lives," Elise added, just with open eyes. That's when I set down my glass. No drama, no yelling, just calm, deliberate movement. Then I raised one hand slightly, barely a gesture. The three waiters standing near the kitchen moved instantly. They weren't waiters. Elise saw them and froze. They didn't bring dessert. They brought the truth. The moment the three men stepped forward, the energy in the room flipped. Gone was the illusion of celebration. They moved with precision. No smiles, no trays, no small talk, just quiet authority. The lead investigator, a tall man with a calm presence and military posture, approached me directly. "Everything's ready, Mr. Wells," he said. His voice was low, steady. Elise's grip tightened around her wine glass. She didn't speak, but her hands trembled. Marcus frowned. "What the hell is this?" I didn't answer him. I just nodded toward the investigator, who moved to the back of the room. He pressed a small remote. From the ceiling, a projector quietly descended. The lights dimmed. Conversations died mid-sentence. "John," Elise said, her voice now tight with panic. "What are you doing?" "Sit," I said firmly. "All of you. You'll want to see this." The first video began. It was grainy but unmistakable. Hotel security footage. Date and time stamped from just 3 weeks prior. Marcus and Elise, hand in hand, entering a downtown hotel. They laughed as they walked to the elevator. When the doors closed, they kissed. My mother gasped. Then came clip 2. Inside Marcus's penthouse. The angle showed the couch. Elise in lingerie I'd given her for our anniversary, wrapped around Marcus like they hadn't a care in the world. They weren't even trying to be discreet. They never thought they'd be caught. The final piece wasn't video, it was audio. A recording taken during one of their late-night yoga sessions. Elise's voice sharp and mocking. "John's sweet, But let's be honest, he's predictable, passive. He wouldn't know what to do if I left him. He still thinks loyalty means something. Then Marcus. He'll roll over. He always does. The silence that followed was louder than any shouting could have been. Elise reached for my arm, her voice cracking. John, I didn't mean... I pulled away. Don't. Marcus stood, trying to reclaim the moment. This is ridiculous. You staged this? You think some cameras and a little drama are going to fix anything? What's your endgame? Humiliate us. I stood as well, calmly. Not humiliation, just truth. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a white envelope, tossing it onto the table. It slid across and stopped right in front of Elise. Her hands shook as she opened it. Divorce papers, already signed. Attached was a copy of the prenup she'd forgotten about, and a letter from my attorney. In short, marital misconduct and public humiliation triggered a clause that left her with nothing. Every shared asset reverted to me. The home, the cars, the accounts. Her face lost all color. You planned this? I nodded. Every second. And those men, I added, gesturing toward the investigators, are licensed professionals. Every clip, every recording, legally obtained. Then I turned to the rest of the table. To those of you who knew, who helped lie to my face, this is your exit. Don't call, don't text, we're done. Chairs scraped, some stood in shame, others muttered excuses. No one met my eyes. Elise, now fully unraveling, pleaded, John, please, we can fix this. This isn't who we are. I looked her dead in the eye. This is exactly who you are. You didn't just betray me. You made a show out of it. You expected me to play the fool in front of everyone I trusted. Marcus opened his mouth again, but I didn't let him speak. I was done listening. I gave you all the benefit of the doubt, I said. Tonight I took it back. I turned and walked out, not because I was broken, but because I'd never felt stronger. Behind me there was no laughter, no music, no clinking glasses, just silence. The kind that comes after a storm, when the damage is clear, and there's nothing left to hide. The footage went viral within hours. Someone at the restaurant, maybe a shocked guest, maybe a server, had recorded the projector screen with their phone. By morning, it was everywhere. Social media blew up. News blogs picked it up by afternoon. Tech entrepreneur exposes wife and brother in brutal birthday bombshell. Even the financial press weighed in, thanks to Marcus's name and our shared business history. I stayed silent. I didn't issue a statement. I didn't need to. The truth was loud enough. Elise, on the other hand, unraveled quickly. Her carefully curated Instagram was scrubbed clean within 24 hours. The comments had been ruthless, strangers, friends, even former colleagues calling her out. Screenshots of her private messages leaked. She was pleading with people for sympathy, but no one was listening. Her sister reached out to me through a private message. She hasn't slept, she wrote. Keeps saying you set her up. I replied with one sentence. I didn't set her up. I just stopped covering for her. Marcus was facing a different kind of collapse. While Elise had public backlash, he had professional fallout. One of my contacts forwarded an internal memo from his firm. The language was formal, but the message was clear. His behavior posed an ethical risk to client trust, and an emergency meeting was being held to reassess leadership alignment. Translation, he was on the chopping block. I didn't push it. I didn't leak anything. I didn't have to. His own arrogance had written the headlines. Elise showed up 2 days later, unannounced at my office. Security called ahead, asking if I wanted to let her in. I told them to send her up. I wanted her to see what peace looked like. She walked in a mess, shaky, disoriented, speaking quickly and too softly. I lost everything, John. My job's gone. My friends won't answer. Marcus, he's ignoring me. He blames me. I didn't move from behind my desk. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she whispered. I thought we'd figure it out. You thought I'd roll over, I replied, like I always did. She nodded, crying now. I just want to start over, even if we have nothing. I stood, but not to console her. We had everything, Elise, and you destroyed it, on purpose. She didn't try to deny it. She just stood there, defeated. Then she turned and left. I didn't watch her go out of anger. I watched because I wanted the moment to sink in for both of us. Sometimes you need to witness the consequences to believe they're real. Marcus, of course, made his move next. An email arrived a few days later. Subject line, "Let's not make this ugly." It was classic Marcus, smooth, detached, performative. "John, I know things got out of hand. I never intended for you to find out that way. I love Elise, but I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's not let this ruin what we've built. We're still brothers. Let's meet." Still brothers. That line stuck with me. He wasn't apologizing. He wasn't taking responsibility. He was trying to salvage whatever power he thought he had left. I didn't reply. I forwarded the email to my attorney instead. See, Marcus and I weren't just family. We were co-owners of a real estate trust left by our father, 50-50 partners. I'd been quiet throughout the scandal for a reason. Timing mattered, and now the timing was perfect. Within 48 hours, the documents were drafted. I bought out Marcus's half of the company at a valuation crushed by the public backlash. His shares were stripped under a clause for reputational harm. Ironclad. Thanks, Dad. The buyout came with restrictions. Marcus could never return to the board, rejoin the firm, or hold any stake in our ventures again. Permanent exile. He tried to fight it, briefly, but his legal team knew when they were beat. He tried calling me once. I let it ring out and blocked his number. A week later, I got a message from an old college friend. Saw Marcus at an event, looked like a ghost. No one would even talk to him. I smiled at that, because the real punishment wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, strategic, surgical. I didn't destroy Marcus. I just stopped protecting him. And when you've built your life on entitlement and image, silence can be louder than any revenge. Time passed. Not much, just a couple of weeks, but long enough for things to go eerily silent. Elise vanished from social media entirely. No more curated photos or daily affirmations. Word got around that she'd tried moving back in with her parents. They refused. Her sister confirmed it in a text. They told her she's on her own, said you were the only good thing she ever had, and she blew it. As for Marcus, he went into hiding the way people like him do, still pretending to be in control while everything slipped through his fingers. I didn't hear from him again directly, but others did. A former colleague said he tried hosting a networking dinner. No one showed. One investor did, but left halfway through citing unexpected conflict. Another friend sent a screenshot from LinkedIn. Marcus had updated his profile. New buzzwords, new fake ventures. No mention of the firm we'd built together. No traction either. Meanwhile, my world got quieter and better. I rebranded the company under a new name, brought in fresh leadership, and started drawing new partners who respected how I'd handled the whole thing. There was no scandal attached to me, just calm, collected execution. My silence became my strength. Then nearly a year later, it happened. I was walking through the lobby of our new headquarters when I saw them, Elise and Marcus. I hadn't expected it. They stood near the front desk, unsure of whether to approach or turn and leave. Elise looked tired. Marcus looked like he was trying to look composed but couldn't quite manage it. They noticed me seconds later. "John," Elise said, stepping forward. I raised a hand. "No speeches." She paused, then tried again. "We're not here to fight. We just wanted a chance to—" "Closure," I finished for her. She nodded. Marcus cleared his throat. "Look, man, I lost everything. I didn't think it would go this far." I gave a half smile. "It didn't go far. I just stopped shielding you. You burned everything down on your own." Elise looked close to tears. "Can't we at least talk?" I looked at them both, not with anger, not even with sadness, just clarity. "I already have closure," I said. "It came the day I realized I didn't need to punish you. I just needed to walk away." And then I did. Not because I needed the last word. I'd had that the night of the dinner. Not because I wanted to be seen as the winner. The truth had already done that for me, but because that was the real ending. Not a dramatic confrontation, not a public fallout, just the quiet moment when I decided their chaos no longer had a place in my life. I didn't look back. Because when someone poisons your world, the only thing worth doing is building a new one without them in it. Weeks turned into months. Slowly, the mess Elise and Marcus created consumed them entirely and left me untouched. Elise tried resurfacing first. She reactivated her social media with posts carefully crafted to look like healing. Quotes about growth, filtered photos of quiet mornings, vague captions about rebuilding after betrayal. She never mentioned my name, but everyone knew. The comments weren't sympathetic. You betrayed a good man. Now you're the victim? Your kind of growth still smells like rot. Her following dropped by the thousands. She disabled comments, then disappeared again. Marcus faded more quietly. No more press, no more networking appearances, no new business ventures that lasted beyond a pitch deck. People stopped returning his calls. I heard from a mutual contact that he tried pitching a startup and couldn't get past the first round of funding. No one trusts him anymore, they said. I didn't help. I didn't need to. Their reputations crumbled under the weight of their own choices. Meanwhile, I moved on, intentionally, but without noise. I grew the business under its new brand, built a solid team, and earned the respect of serious investors. They weren't just impressed with our numbers. They liked how I'd handled the scandal without anger, lawsuits, or media theatrics. I'd kept my dignity. That mattered. My personal life changed too. New friends, new boundaries, people who weren't tied to the past, who didn't look at me like I was a cautionary tale. I learned to enjoy peace again. Eventually, I met someone. We took it slow. No promises, no rushed labels. Just time, honesty, and a mutual understanding that trust was earned, not assumed. Then almost exactly 1 year after the dinner, I hosted a quiet birthday celebration. A few close friends, laughter that didn't feel forced, a candlelit dinner that didn't hide any lies, no big toasts, no drama, just presence. And that was enough. That night I stepped outside onto the terrace with a glass of wine and looked out over the city, the same city where, a year earlier, my marriage had imploded. Where I had been expected to play the fool, to quietly accept betrayal dressed as progress. But I hadn't accepted it. I hadn't collapsed. I'd held my ground, cut ties cleanly, and rebuilt on better soil. I didn't get revenge in the way most people imagine it. There were no screaming matches, no legal battles played out in public. Just decisions, boundaries, silence where once there was chaos, and that silence became power. The final twist wasn't about them, it was about me. They lost everything trying to have it all. I found peace by walking away. So if you're ever in a moment like that, watching the people you trusted turn into strangers, remember this. You don't have to explode. You don't have to beg. You don't even have to respond. Sometimes the most satisfying ending is just being happy, while the people who betrayed you are left with nothing but memories of what they destroyed. That's not revenge. That's justice.